Keith, thanks for trying out, buddy. Thanks for digging up your jersey out of the bottommost drawer.
I stretched.
He didn't make the team.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Keith and Mike Watch Deep Space Nine. Today we are doing Season 7, Episode 4, the legendary Take Me Out to the Holosuite. I am so excited to be here. I have dug out, I bet nobody knew I own an actual baseball jersey that I have worn in actual hardcore
men's
athletic
softball,
competition.
co-ed softball.
This is my Avenue, when I played for Avenue Q in the Broadway Show League. It was let me tell you, I had a really good time, and these buttons are doing more work than they used to do. You know, okay, so here's so fun. Mike and I have not talked about this episode one iota.
Nope.
Not an emoji.
Usually
about
I'll
this
send
episode.
a text. We'll get a vibe from what Mike felt about it. And so I have no idea what Mike thinks, but I can say that I am confident that Mike either really loved this episode or really hated it. I doubt Mike is going to be in the middle. I know I am not in the middle. I was going to say that my gut tells me, and I was going to ask you, that there is wildly polarizing opinions of this episode. In fact, Keith, in our watch along, which you can join at patreon.com/K&M, spell out that and. You can watch every week almost, me watch the episode. We had 17 people in the stream with us, and it was the best vibe. Everybody was cool, funny. Last night, I don't know what it must be because it's summer and everybody's chill. The vibes, well, I mean, the cognitive disconnect from watching Star Trek and like what's happening in the world is just what it is, so we're gonna have to roll with it.
Yep, we're just accept it.
But everyone was like really funny. I was laughing, having a great time. Great episode for that kind of. This wasn't a like, hey, shut the hell up and let's watch this critically, right? This is not that kind of episode. Yes. And there were some polarizing opinions in the chat. Although I think we all got to a similar place because I think we experienced this episode in the way it was intended.
Right, you're all in the stands.
But lots of conversation. I will not. I do think I was the ideal audience member. As
you are a real
fan.
baseball fan.
I think that there's so many, what do they call them, member berries in this, right?
Yes.
For people that know baseball, and I think there's a level. I don't think you have to in it by any stretch. And I also think, and this is something we can discuss later in the episode, Keith, that this episode can only succeed or can really only exist in Season 7. Or like a Season 6 or Season 7, because if you don't know these characters going in,
right,
waste of time. Much like the Benny Russell episode, Far Beyond the Stars.
Yeah.
Different, right? But seeing them play different analogous characters to themselves, I think scratches better later.
It adds a great deal. I would say that Far Beyond the Stars definitely holds up if you don't know, but it's way better if you do know.
Yeah, it's also a thematically better episode. I mean,
yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
Okay, so I'm very excited.
We need, though, Keith. We do need...
What's that?
I guess we don't now because it's over. But maybe for Voyager, we need a bottle episode bumper.
Ooh, yeah. Well, but this wasn't a bottle episode at all.
Well,
it was a location.
Yeah,
they had to film half this whole episode on location.
Bottle episode in the... Maybe there's a better term for it. In the way that it exists sort of outside of time and space of what's happening around them.
Yes, it is a in-canon bottle episode while being a production, not bottle episode.
Yeah, and got so many trivial trivias from the fans last night, so I can't wait to see if you cover them all.
We're gonna find out. But I have one more piece of note keeping because I have finally announced that I'm going to be doing my one-man show, my brand new one-man show, as part of the United Solo Festival in Manhattan on November 4th at Theater Row. It's called the 10 Times I Should Have Known That I Was Autistic, and it is an autobiographical little monologue show telling, well, you know, exactly what it says. 10 different times that I should have known that I was autistic. So if you live in New York City, and you
or the
feel
surrounding tri-state area,
or the surrounding tri-state area, but like no pressure. I don't.
Maybe you have a lot of miles.
No, that's too much. Like this, I don't want to pressure people to come and see, because look, lower your expectations.
So
it's
reason
a little festival thing.
Time number 11, the time Keith didn't want to invite wanted to put it on the internet, but not invite anyone.
Everybody is invited, but like, I don't want you spending money on this beyond the ticket. So anyway, you can go to autisticshow.com and get more info on the show and grab yourself a seat. It's gonna be hopefully fun. I'm only a little bit nervous yet, but the show's not till November, so I'll be sweating bullets soon enough. But our good friend, Michael Indeglio, is the technical director on the show. He's going to help me.
I didn't make the poster, but I did make the Facebook post. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, of course you did. Of course you did.
So mic to camera now.
Yeah.
Keith doesn't want you spending money, but I'll say this. Here's where I'm going to meet Keith in the middle. Keith, there is no obligation for you to come to this show. But if you want to, get there by any means possible. All right? That's entirely your prerogative. Keith, not demanding.
Think about all right. Think about effort, reward, money, reward. Right. So it's all you're gonna get is me talking on stage in front of a PowerPoint presentation of old embarrassing pictures of myself for an hour and 20 minutes. That's all you get.
Me trying to run the tech, and failing horribly, which is what you get here for free every week.
You don't even need to be a patron to watch Mike fail at tech.
That's awesome. Super pumped. Really excited for you, Keith.
It's been really fun to create. It's been really fun to work on. So, and the hope is that if we sell the first performance out, we'll get a subsequent show and be able to do it at least more than once, which would be great. But in the meantime, just doing a thing. Hey. So there it is. You want to know? I'm so excited to get off of that subject, because one of the autistic traits that is famous is imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah,
and we've talked about this on the show before. And me launching this on Facebook this morning just filled me with crippling, overwhelming imposter syndrome. Like, what if I'm not really autistic? Oh God, I am. It's fine. But it's why I'm happy to move forward to our next segment, the Patron Comments. That's not right. I mean, it is.
Everything about that was
the
wrong.
last episode. That's all right.
Oh no. Well,
see, you can get this.
Couldn't have gone any better.
$50 for it.
Couldn't have been any better.
Would you like to watch me be uncomfortable and Mike fail at tech, but would you like to have to travel and pay $50 for it? Then come see 10 times I should have known I was autistic.
Think about watching Keith for hundreds of minutes and not having me interrupt and cut in every 30 seconds. Think about how wonderful that will be.
Think about being able to see me from an angle that is not just cropped so specifically.
Actually, if we could pull that off, it'd be very funny. Somehow, I just have the lights crop you at all times.
Or I think you just like hold a cardboard cutout of our thing just in front of me the whole time. So I'd like that. It sounds great.
You won't have to hear Keith say, well, this is interesting. You won't have to hear him say that one time.
You haven't read the script yet.
That's right.
The transition between every one of the 10 stories is...
No, this is interesting.
This is interesting. Interesting to me and only me. All right, so let's talk about last week's episode, After Image. And if you would like me to read your comments up on the internets, you can join us at patreon.com/K&M and then leave your comment here in the YouTubes, and I will read it thusly. Joshua Cronin says, I enjoy this as you really get to know Esri and what type of character the universe is going to take it. Great acting from Andrew Robinson as always. 80s self-sealing stem bolts from me. Brian from Video Game Drive-By says, "Hi guys, you never have to worry about cutting my long-winded posts. It's never a problem." Thank you. It's been too long since Trek had a proper mental health worker on hand, and it shows. Everybody needs a hug, and that's what Esri is. She's a hug to everyone needed. That's such a great way of putting Esri. Garrick is amazing as always, and he says what some of the fans are thinking. And we all realize that in this moment, we all need Esri. We need to let Esri be Esri and stop trying to make her into Jadzia 2.0. Another good point. And Sisko has gone from protege of Kurjan to friend of Jadzia to mentor of Esri. They're really, again, a lot of good thoughts, Brian, today. That tough love scene is amazing. I have no words for how wonderful Michael Dorn is as Worf. O'Brien saved Bashir's life in this one. Ramble over. Back to packing. Once we move in fully, Mrs. Drive-By is going to start a Deep Space Nine watch through, and we'll go back and watch these episodes of yours as we go. Oh, Mrs. Drive-By, that might be a bigger commitment than marriage.
Mrs. Drive-By, maybe you start after the move with Strange New Worlds, Season 3. Keith and Mike watch and review.
Yeah, sure.
Keith, less excited about that than me.
Well, I'll say this about Strange New Worlds.
We have a finalized date now. We're going to end with 26 more episodes. We're ending Season 5, a 6-episode Season 5.
Interesting.
They just announced this yesterday. Did you not read about that?
I don't read. I can't read.
Yep.
But
apparently
my
not,
brother,
not according to the comments of our last YouTube video, Keith.
my brother John, the one worked on Voyager, texted me yesterday. He's like, "Have you heard of Strange New Worlds? Do you watch it?" I'm like, "I've got a show about it. I talk about 2 hours about every single episode." But I tell you what, that show, our production looks great on that show.
It does look great, and it feels like it's been forever. I can't wait to revisit. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Something fun to do this summer.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Jason Moe says, "I guess I don't hate Esri's line that it would have been Bashir as much as everyone else seems to. It's awkward, but I kind of appreciate the gut punch it must feel like for Julian, and the complicated feelings this revelation would conjure up for him, with Jadzia gone but Esri now standing right here. I don't love the episode as a whole though. 75 stem bolts. Also, I just wanted to say that I had to endure 2 adverts and watch you guys spend 2 hours reviewing a 41-minute show from God's only know how long ago. This is surely what's wrong with the world today, as a quick perusal of any news channel will instantly prove we're the only problem right now. I'm going to go read a book for grown-ups." The commenter who so haughtily complained about all of this above will no doubt be thrilled to learn that your next project will be the lengthy and thorough analysis of a much more contemporary and important subject, the Golden Girls.
That's right.
Hell yeah, Jason.
We're just going to sit and watch 80s commercials from the 80s and talk about them ad nauseum.
I mean, honestly,
that sounds pretty awesome.
Like watching it with commercials from the time would be really fun. Kevin Miles says, "Esri reminds me of this new kid in school. Everything is familiar, yet different. She is a different person. She might still be Dax, but she's not Jadzia. Think of her as Jadzia's sister." Dorn, Robinson, and DeBoer, we'll get to there, are outstanding in this episode. I give this episode 90 self-sealing stem bolts.
That's not a one-to-one analogy. It's not really. Sister's like too separated. It would have to be like her vestigial sister. But like the one sister died, and so she's just like growing out of her back, but she's totally.
Somebody Photoshop that, please.
Like, I mean, it's horrifying. Like, it's a horrifying episode.
I think it's more like Alien, where Esri is bursting out of Jadzia's chest.
Can you imagine that meeting with Terry? They're like, "Hey, we want to bring you back. You're still dead. Right, but we have your vestigial sister's growing out of your hip, and we'll be doing a lot of close-up work.
Yeah.
But we'll just need you for wides.
It's basically the substance. You like crawl, like the younger version crawls out. Great.
Oof, sorry.
Hibernation Pod says, "The scene when Garrett collapses reminded me of my best friend when I grew up, and that moment tipped towards something potentially similar." Yeah, man, we've all been through that kind of thing. That scene was my favorite moment, yet triggered an old memory. 85 self-sealing stem bolts. But that's not all we got from Hibernation Pod.
So with Esri's left or right coordination, after a few lifetimes, wouldn't she be more like ambidextrous? The coordination kind of equaling out over time. Also, I agree with Mike. More war story, less romance. It kind of takes me out of it. Kind of bores me. Kind of makes me cringe. Thanks.
How about baseball?
Baseball. Hey.
With a lot of romance, too. There's romance in this episode.
Oh, yeah, sure there is. But being ambidextrous, yeah, it's... I wonder if I guess that I don't know enough about dexterity to know whether it is the mind or the body that determines whether you're right-handed or left-handed. Somebody knows. Somebody smarter than me has done that research. But I do not mean this euphemistically. I mean this literally. I'm a switch hitter when I play softball or baseball. So ambidextrous.
You can miss from both sides.
I can strike out in any possible arena.
Speaking of, I believe there's a trivia on this. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, we'll get there. Okay. We'll get there. All right, YouTube viewers.
Keith does not like me walking in armed with any info. He wants me dumb. He wants me dumb, uninformed, and illiterate.
That's how I like you. I like you cute and dumb.
I'm gonna have to clip that out. It's pretty funny. I hate to admit how funny I think Keith is. Comedian?
If I can't have you young, that ship sailed. I'll be cute and dumb.
Oh shit!
Yikes! The YouTube viewer says, we never see them on camera, but they mentioned having counselors on Deep Space Nine before Ezra. Yeah, we addressed that. None of them last more than a year or two. They probably run away screaming after one session with Chief O'Brien. Now, I'm not going to read it, but on our YouTube comments for last week's episode, YouTube viewer wrote a scene of what Chief O'Brien's therapy appointment would be, and it's freaking hilarious.
It's good.
100% worth a read. Go check it out. If Worf hadn't come along, it would have been you was a horrible line. Maybe the worst in all of Deep Space Nine. If you pretend this line was never uttered, this is a good episode. With the line in, this is merely an okay episode, minus 20 stem bolts for that. Mike mentioned a preteen quality to Esri in the watch-along, and I think this is because Catherine DeBoer is very short and has a child's haircut. You are very judgy about people's haircuts. I don't know
Me?
why you're... No, not you.
Oh.
I'm talking to YouTube viewer.
I was like, you don't know what I think about haircuts.
You have come down on Ezra's haircut like 6 times in the comments.
I
like her haircut, by the way.
I will say that is not the reason I think that. It is not visual. My analysis is more that I believe they're writing her because she just was formed as the host symbiote connection. Yeah. That they're writing a maturity like that is ramping. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
And she just like she has like a Blinky Bambi kind of a vibe to begin with.
She does give me like Peter Pan vibes more than anything.
Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, just you wait for the Peter Pan musical episode coming up later this season.
Are you kidding?
No. Yes, I'm kidding.
Okay. I was like, damn!
That'd be amazing. This should have been Ezri's debut episode. Catherine DeBoer showed good acting range in this episode. More importantly, Ezri's writing was better. Her character drove the plot, and Ezri demonstrated great competency as a counselor. Very few people are harder to counsel than Garrick. I much prefer a competent and nuanced Ezri over the Ezri that is interrupting Cisco family dynamics so she can vomit on the shuttle ride. I like both, actually. Well, go ahead, Mike.
No, I'll let you finish, and then I will make my comment.
Well, on some level, it looks like Garrick comes to this epiphany, but helping others come up with their own epiphanies is what good counselors do. 100% agreed. Avery Brooks's acting was great in this episode. He definitely went full dad with a mix of gentle encouragement and tough love. Reverse psychology doesn't normally work on adults, but Ezri is very childlike, so it works on her. Great writing. I can certainly empathize with Worf's frustration. In some ways, he might be a surrogate for a disappointed Deep Space Nine fan at Jadzia's crappy death scene. Yeah. Quark and Bashir lusting after Ezri grosses me out. The only age-appropriate member of the cast for her romantically is Jake. Also, Jake is the most underutilized member of the main cast in pretty much every season of Deep Space Nine. I agree with Mike that the watch-along should drop the cuteness subplot. In the watch-along, that they should drop the cuteness subplot. At this point, I wouldn't have minded if Ezri became a recurring guest star, as opposed to a regular. They could have assigned her a ship that frequented Deep Space Nine, 65 self-realizing stem bolts. Yeah, I mean, we have so many legendary guest stars that feel like main cast members. I could totally see that. Although, I looked it up. Catherine was, I think, 28 when she filmed this. She looks younger than she was. So and
I agree.
Sirach
Would be a
was
good
19.
it would be a good debut episode for her. However, especially network TV back in the day, I don't know about now. It's a little less. Prestige TV is a little different, but the in canon introduction is less important, or the thematic introduction is less important than a mic drop moment, and you had to mic drop at the end of that season premiere. Like, you needed the mic drop moment. That mic drop moment was better than
I don't mind it. I think they needed to give her an episode soon.
Yeah.
Which they did. So she was really only in one episode before this. Because she was just the surprise at the end of the first one. JD says, I think the issue for a few of us is that we can tell that early in the seasons the writer had not quite figured out Ezri. It's the issue that most shows have early on in the process of finding a new character between the writers and the actor that Nicole nails it from the get-go. Little thing, Keith and I am pretty sure that Nicole DeBoer's name is pronounced DeBoer, like the animal. I'm sure you're right. I just took a guess. So I will be hopefully correctly saying DeBoer from now on. Jen
Much like this episode.
Yeah.
It's deboring.
Yeah, there it is.
I'm so sorry.
That was deburring. Jen is a hole of gold and sunbeams. Are we putting that on her grave? Did I say that? Oh God, the things that I say in this world.
Jen said something in the car. She's like, why did JD say that? And I was like, I think Keith tried to give you a compliment.
I was trying to say something nice, but my brain bad.
You run out of ways to just say that I'm a dirtbag and don't deserve Jen. There's just only so many ways you could say it.
I mean, maybe I should just put a bumper. Mike is a dirtbag and doesn't deserve Jen. Pow! Yeah.
I could put that to a beat.
Oh, yeah. That's the best use of AI.
Keith, I have to say, this brings it up.
Here it is.
You've... It's like Pavlovian. You've scared our patrons so deeply that now they're calling out any potential spoiler. They're like, the AI posters Mike makes for the Patreon page, they're spoilers because he's a Vulcan, and now there's Vulcans in it. I was like, yeah, guys, I get it. You're right. There's only so much I could block out from my life. All right? It's just don't tell me what happens to the main cast. That's really what I'm trying to avoid.
Okay. Yeah.
We can take the leash off a little bit.
Hey, look.
You know what? Maybe not.
They're policing themselves.
You're right. It's great. You've done well.
Which is, if you scream on the internet enough, you cause enough trauma that people start causing all sorts of trouble.
YouTube had a great comment in the watch along last night. They said, I'd say more, but it would make Keith cry. And I was like, you're right. Stop.
I like it. Good. This is great. It's all working out wonderfully. It is a dream come true.
Keith's big brothering us without even being there.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just
your
like a
shadow
specter.
casts long, Keith.
I'm like, remember the old Twilight Zone series, the Shadow Man episode? Scared the bejesus out of me. It was so good. It was like the 90s revival or like late 80s, something like that.
Yeah, that was bad.
It was bad, but there's like 2 episodes that scared me so much I still remember them.
That's like, I've gone back, I've been doing a rewatch of Tales from the Crypt, and I just remembered it being really scary. I did not realize how campy it is. I guess as a kid, camp is kind of difficult to discern.
It's lost on you. Yeah, like Texas Chainsaw 2 was the scariest movie, and now it's like hilarious. JD continues. And yeah, Mike, that thing that happened in the chat during the watch along, I mentioned something about my first boyfriend, and suddenly 2 other people were open about talking about them being gay. I didn't remember how early you 2 knew that I was queer, but I honestly felt a little alone around here. And until that happened, I was like, oh cool, I'm not in a chat surrounded by cis straights. Yeah, no, it's interesting because like I knew that we have so much of that community in our audience, and I'm surprised that you didn't. But I'm sorry that I'm definitely sorry that you felt a little alone, because I totally get it. Like just being about a bunch of straight dudes, like it can be a lot. But very glad for you to know that you were very much not alone.
Which is thinking, yeah. Which is why I think I'm so shocked. Maybe that's not the right word, but I'm so taken aback when we have people who are not representative of inclusion and diversity that pop up or comment. And we've had, I don't want to say that that always surprises me. Like when there's a very hyper conservative.
Every once in a while, there's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
And I'm going to write a song about how they're not good enough for Jen.
Just shocks me because you would think that's antithetical to the general principles of the sort of
100%
universe at large.
You do not understand Star Trek if you think like that. And there are plenty of Star Trek fans. The people being so mad about New Trek being woke or whatever it is. You don't understand Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Sorry. You fundamentally do not understand Star Trek.
Yeah, it's not that podcast, so whatever. Yes, there are in the Roddenberry years. There are cultural things that are in the shows that wouldn't hold up to progressive scrutiny now, but that's a different conversation.
No, certainly not. And there is always work to do, but Star Trek has perpetually been pushing the envelope in the right direction. So anyway, blah blah blah. Get it. I'm guessing that my comment from last week, JD's continues, got blocked on YouTube because I referenced the Pinwheel Boys of World War II. Won't do that again. Yeah, that sounds very likely. So, the 2 big leads of this episode, Garrick and Dax, do fantastic work in this episode. My biggest problem is that an actual therapist was not consulted in the writing of this script, and it ends up very 90s Women's Weekly magazine pop psychology, and I have it. It's why so many of the Troy episodes on Next Gen are so bad. It was because they never understood the psychology they were trying to play with. Like a kid in a sandbox with a caterpillar excavator, they had no idea what they were doing with it, and they were just messing up the sandbox. I took my caterpillar work in my sandbox very seriously. Mm-hmm. The ditches I was digging worked. But yeah, it's interesting you say that because I see it, and I think there are definitely elements of sort of cheap pop psychology, but I do believe that Renee Echevarria's wife is a therapist, and Renee wrote that episode, and so it didn't read quite as false to me in the end, because I think Esri's first approach was exactly that, but perhaps I'm giving her too much credit. I thought that maybe that was intentionally sort of silly and pop, and either she was trying to elicit something out of Garrick in reaction to the sort of triteness of it, or that it was showing that Esri was inexperienced that she was going there, because where we ended up was not that.
Well, let me ask you this, and I would say, remember that I haven't watched the series of Next Gen, right? And will. Generally speaking, 70s, 80s, 90s network type television, therapy, there is one trope, right? And it's that it's uncomfortable, it's psychobabble, it's, what people think about chiropractic and podiatry, right? That it's kind of quack science.
Right.
Obviously, you and I don't believe that, and I think that popular opinion has changed quite a bit recently. But it's understandable that that's sort of what they play in a bit here, because that's sort of what the general vibe was. But Troy was a main character. She was a therapist. How did they portray therapy, her actual work in Next Gen?
I think there's some good sides and some bad sides. The good sides are they always took it seriously. They took it as something important. They took it as something beneficial. Bad side is, I think JD is right that it's a little bit, finger paints therapy. And that, some of that is the structure of television. Some of that is, possibly the writer's inexperience. I don't really know. I think there are times where it is successful and times where it's not. And it can be a little boring if it's not really landing on anything beyond pop psychology, for sure.
It's tough to portray too, because especially now, there's such a wide swath of techniques and schools, and basically individualized, right?
Yeah.
I have a colleague who their therapy is, I wish I could remember exactly what it's called or how but he referenced it as it's affirmation based. So there is no critical exploration of like your behavior, what you could do differently or anything. It's very much everything is positive and affirmation based, kind of like what that new school of dog training. That's all positive reinforcement. I thought that was interesting. I don't know that that's for me, but
I don't think that's for me.
I like a little more challenge, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
Especially if you're dealing with certain types of trauma, I can imagine where you'd want to stay very positive.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting, sort of circling back, like as somebody autistic going through 30 years of therapy, there's this other interesting element of it where like I know everything you're going to say. I already have all the information. Like I could therapize myself, but what I need is a different type of it. I don't need the insight. I have all the insight. I need to like, how do I attach the emotion to it, and so on and so forth. It's interesting. JD continues, the performances are 90 from me, but the story is 55 because of the bad pop psychology was so poorly written it frustrates me, so I will come down to a 72 self-sealing stem bolts. DC says, this episode remains one of my favorites in Season 7. It finally left me feeling like that we were in a good hands with the new Dax character. Nicole's performance was great, plus we get a gripping Garrick story that allowed Andrew Robinson to shine. Their scenes together made me even more interested to see how Ezri would grow new relationships with the rest of the cast. My only two gripes about the episode come from the writing of Sisko and Bashir. I think the story would have served Ezri better to have Sisko as a father figure who was more sympathetic to her. She needs time to process all that's happened to her. Instead, we get a Sisko that doesn't even attempt to get to know Ezri as a person. He dismisses her individuality on several occasions, even claiming that she would be good at her job because of the other Trill memories. He never did this to Jadzia. Ezri doesn't need tough love, she needs counsel. Read. I think the episode may benefit from bringing in an outside counselor character, maybe Ezri's boss, to retrieve their assistant and provide support that ultimately leads to Ezri deciding to stay. Good idea. Sisko also swiftly dismisses Jake's potential romantic interest in Ezri, which is unfair. I think a Jake-Ezri pairing would open up a whole world of storytelling possibility, as it would relate to Sisko's relationship with his son and one of his oldest friends. He waves away any character urgency Jake could have without any discussion. Interesting. Bashir is wasted with the romance subplot involving Quark. Those scenes would have been better served with Bashir actually trying to help his friend Garrick, who was going through a great trauma. Bashir's absence in scenes where he knows Garrick is suffering betrays the years of building the show used to make their friendship one of the best in the series. Garrick's trauma should have been a full B-plot of its own, with Bashir helping him work through things and Ezri becoming more fully realized in her role by the end, talking to Garrick as her first patient to end the episode. Agreed 100%. I think the only reason that didn't happen is because Berman was too afraid of them being gay. Which sucks. It totally neutered that incredible relationship. Homophobia neutered that, and it bums me out. DC finishing, Ezri stumbling onto the issue of Garrick. The issue Garrick is facing doesn't strengthen her or show her to be any more capable than Bashir would have been. All that said, I still really enjoy the majority of this, and the performances really elevate it. 91 self-sealing stem bolts. John B says, I think when Sisko met the Prophets, it was Sisko at the right time and right place. They didn't know who he was, but also the Prophets didn't know who he was. But also, the prophets created him in the past, but the past already happened, so how could they not know him? Because they exist outside of linear time. So it's both that Cisco discovered the prophets on his own, and they created him so he could discover them. It's all trippy and mysterious and doesn't make full sense to us linear people. But that's why it works in my book. It makes just enough sense to be weirdly cool. Yeah, I think that's... I mean, once you're out of linear time, like chicken and the egg, yes, no, who knows? Like, it's... I could totally see that work. And of course, we got a fantastic troll by the name of Kieran Walker, who really helped boost. I think genuinely, Kieran trolling us boosted our viewership. I think our viewership was up 30% because of our troll. So please, more trolls, come at us because it 100% helps.
It is fun once in a while, though.
Once in a while. All right.
Especially when it's not a critique like you look stupid. Because let me be honest.
We know we do.
Yeah, yes. And I'd probably at night, I'd probably be like by myself in the shower and be like, do I look stupid? Like, that one might hurt. But when it's just like, your show's too long, I was like, yeah, dude, we're podcasting about... Yes, he just basically laid out the thesis of the podcast as a criticism, and I was like, that's great.
Well, he laid out the thesis of podcasting as a art form. And was like angry about it, but you know, whatever. When I'm in the shower, I'm like, you do look weird.
I read a meme, and I sent it to Keith, and it's maybe my funniest. I might have to blow it up to poster size, and it just said, podcasting is just a way for two straight guys to go on a date.
100%.
And I was like, yeah.
That's all it is. That's the art form.
Yeah.
You've done it.
Oh boy. Shall we?
Well, honey, let's talk about the episode. I did it to you this time.
Yeah.
All right, it's Take Me Out to the Holosuite. Yes. It aired on October 21st, 1998. The top song was not the first time it was on the top of the charts, but it was the first night.
The first night is the song?
Yeah, Monica's song, The First Night.
Oh, that old chestnut. I loved you on the third night, not to mention the second. The fourth was extra special 'cause we did stuff that was prescient, but nothing can compare to that first night when you came over 'cause I said I had some pie in the fridge. And you said I like pie, and so you came on in, and I played you my YouTube videos. And somehow we kept dating even after that. 'Cause I would have dumped me 'cause it's really dumb. But we got married and here we are. And Keith says that you are golden gooseberries.
Golden gooseberries.
Oh man, sometimes when I just open it up, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh, I mean,
but like Monica's version.
All right, here, you now must make Jen a t-shirt that says Golden Gooseberries.
All right.
That's spectacular. I realized that was about Jen. Please tell me you didn't actually play her your own YouTube videos on your first date.
No, Keith, all of that was 100% true. We went on a date and it went pretty good, and I was like, I got pie back at my place.
Sure.
So we went back and we had some
sense.
pie, and I made tea, and then I just like played her some YouTube vids.
Of your own?
Yeah.
That was so honest.
Yeah. But no, the best is after that. I was like, man, this is a lot of fun. We should get together again, you know, opening the door. And you know what she said to me, Keith? I think I've said this story before. She was like, I'm very busy. And so it took a little while for me to ask her out again, or like for her to call and be like, oh yeah, I thought we were going to get together. I was like, you told me you were busy. I thought that's surely a no more.
That was like a hard no, yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, that's right. Well,
when you're oozing Riz like this, I mean
so much. Well, I mean, think about the Riz I had with my ex-wife. First date, press tickets to Spider-Man the Musical.
Oh, yeah. And it was 7 hours long because we just watched the guy stuck on the rig for a couple hours.
Well, no, this was when they were finally opening. They got through the show. Took my parents to it in previews, and they definitely had to stop the show. But
did I ever tell you my buddy was the stunt spider who was stuck up there for like the 4 hours, and it was just like the rig was like around his crotch, so it was just like all these pictures of people like, just taking pictures of his crotch as he flew back and forth. They waited for him to fix it. That's so great.
It was rough. We all got through it somehow. The top movie, Practical Magic. This was the Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman movie, which I did not remember until we came across this date while doing the Practice podcast. And that reminded me that existed. But you know what I didn't remember? What was on TV tonight, Mike?
You probably would have, because I'm sure we talked about it at that point. But let me ask you, what? All of a sudden, we're airing on Wednesdays now?
Was it a Wednesday?
Take me out to the blah, 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 premiered U.S. network TV on Wednesday, October 21st, 1998.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It aired on whatever date the syndication... Because Deep Space Nine was syndicated, the last Star Trek show. So it was on at a different time and channel and day of the week in every single area.
Interesting. Well, I guess... I'll just whip through what was happening on Wednesdays and at this time.
Yeah.
ABC Nothing Sacred and Cracker, which I don't think I've heard of either of those things. CBS Promised Land and Diagnosis Murder.
I remember Diagnosis Murder.
Fox was repeating stuff. NBC was rocking Friends and Jesse. Don't remember Jesse. I do remember Frasier. And I barely remember Veronica's Closet because we've talked about it before.
Jesse was not the Friends spinoff? That's Joey, right?
Right, yeah, that was later. And that's basically all that was happening on TV. ER was the big one.
Good time to watch Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. What was Voyager doing?
I'll tell you what Voyager was doing was the episode Drone, which I will not describe for spoilers.
Nice.
Now I'm starting to have to make Voyager spoiler free.
Keith, I will admit to you and to everyone to come clean.
I was so mad. I was so mad when you told me this.
I was just like flipping through the TV. I was down in the theater, and I was like, "What? You know what? I watched the pilot for Voyager."
But how much did you watch the whole thing?
No, I watched the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay. I'm mad, but only 15 minutes mad.
It's just that first scene where they're in the shuttle and they're like doing stuff.
Gotta save it, bud. Gotta save it.
That's what I thought. I could hear you yelling, so I shut it down.
You probably literally heard me. I felt the disturbance in the force. Like 2 states over. No!
I was like, I guess I'll put on the HBO Max and watch The Mortician.
You have access to every piece of media ever done in human history.
It's too much.
Too much. All right. So this episode, Take Me Out to the Holosuite, remember we're talking about a Star Trek show, was directed by Chip Palmers, who last directed The Magnificent Ferengi, another great comedic episode. And this was written by Ronald D. Moore, the fantastic showrunner of many good shows later, which means it is now time to see if I got all of the things that Mike mentioned. Now, Keith, waste your time.
With what?
With trivial trivia. Okay. Here we go, trivial trivia. Curiously enough, although Rom was shown to be the worst player on the team, Max Grodenchik is actually the best baseball player among the cast and crew, which is no small feat considering that Avery Brooks, Sarah Clofton, Armin Shimmerman, and Aaron Eisenberg are all accomplished baseball players in their own right. Grodenchik had to play left-handed to give a bad performance because he was just too good at the game. Nana Visitor, however, proved to be completely inept at the sport, and Nicole DeBoer was not much better.
But that backflip!
Oh yeah, that was a pretty cool backflip.
Completely unnecessary in the context of the game, but yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
She could be playing Banana Ball. Have you watched any Banana Ball?
I've seen clips on social media.
It's like it's made for Keith. It's like you hate baseball, think it's boring. We did this, and I was like, yeah, you probably would.
Well, it's the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Sort of, except the Harlem. I guess they were really playing. Yeah, it's very very close to that. They changed the rules.
They're very good.
Well, I know they're good, but you can never tell if they were actually competing, right?
I once watched a charity basketball game in Burlington, Vermont, way back in the early sort of mid-90s, between the Harlem Globetrotters and a couple of players from the New York Football Giants. I was very excited about this.
You ready for one of my favorite segments? Inside cut that only Keith and Mike know.
Mm-hmm.
There was a young child named Russell. Actually, no, you wouldn't know this. He was on the MAME tour, not the Titanic tour. Okay, I take it back. Anyway, so the kid, we toured with two kids who were really playing one kid, child labor laws and all. And
you didn't pick up your local kid like we did.
No. And
which sometimes was a doll.
Anyway, a couple of our cast members that had been close with him, or were nice to him, I should say, in any way, got invited to his bar mitzvah out on Long Island, and it was awesome. And what was the entertainment for the bar mitzvah? The freaking Harlem Globetrotters came and did an exhibition.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Their bar mitzvah had a bigger budget than mine did.
I didn't have a bar mitzvah, but I can tell you what happened on my 16th birthday.
13th.
Is it 13th?
No, 13th.
Oh, yeah. I got a Mr. T action figure and an Eagles football helmet that my dad wouldn't let me wear because he hated the Eagles.
Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't actually have a bar mitzvah, but
Me neither.
I had a 13th birthday party. It wasn't that exciting. All right, continuing on. Before the game, both teams stand and remove their hats for the playing of the Federation anthem. The instrumental piece was composed by David Bell, specially for this episode, and I thought that is a very creditable anthem.
Popular opinion in the chat last night was that it's boring and they should have done something a little more exciting.
How many? No, disagree. Hard disagree. That's what an anthem sounds like.
Keith, I'm just a vessel for the opinions of our viewers.
No, hard disagree.
Right.
Have you ever watched the Olympic and listened to 30 anthems in a row? That's what they sound like. They don't have a guitar solo, although that would.
There's no reason you couldn't.
I mean, that's true. Future. Yeah. But the Federation, they're very
it was a missed opportunity to have Dick Whistle come and play.
That would have been awesome. Dick Whistle to the anthem.
I mean, right?
That would have been. I would have lost my mind.
Yeah.
That would have given it 30 more stem bolts immediately. All right. So continuing on, in the final scene at Quark's, neither Michael Dorn nor Renee Aubergenois are there. Their photo doubles stood in for them.
Oh.
And Mike, if you go to the picture I put in there, you can see Dorn's stunt double. You can actually see him in the episode. There are several shots where you can see Dorn's stunt double, just the photo double, just sitting there reacting to nothing. Everyone else is oh, yay, no, he's just he's literally does not move.
Sees me. Do not blink, do not give it away.
Do not blink, do not move. It was pretty funny. Their names are James Miner and Chuck Shanks, if you're wondering at home.
I did a stand-in for Ben Stiller once, and
did you?
It's basically you're looking at it. You stand there, they focus the lights, and they tell you right up front, they're you will not be on camera, you will not be in any footage, you're not in this. But that guy was.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you make good money as Stiller stand-in?
No, it was one day work, and it was actually it was $300 some or whatever.
It's not a bad day's work.
No.
That's more than I make.
We're the same height.
That makes sense.
I thought it was going to be for the whole movie. It was.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Just one day. Bummer. So Kira's uniform reads either Nerys or Kira at different times during the course of the episode. That's weird that they would make two of those. Obviously, they had Kira up there, and somebody's that's her first name. Okay, we'll replace it, but who's paying attention? Lita's uniform reads simply Lita, as her character was never given a full name during the series. That's funny. During practice, Avery Brooks wore a San Francisco Giants cap, while Sirach Lofton wore an Atlanta Braves cap. Sirach's uncle is veteran baseball player Kenny Lofton. That's crazy. Who at the time was playing for the Braves and would later play for the Giants.
He's remembered as a Brave, though.
Yeah, but that's a good player. That's not just like a player. That's a very good player. That's cool. I mean, like, I've been running the coattails of my uncle for decades.
But you can tell by Sirach's build that like athletic.
Oh yeah, dude's an athlete. Yeah. He is very legitimately could have been a player. So this episode is based on, did they get this on the trivia? Based on The Old Ball Game from 1985, an episode of Fame, written by Ira Stephen Bear,
Interesting.
the showrunner of the show, and several scenes in this episode are directly taken from that episode of Fame.
Okay, cool. But I would say, and I should have written it down in chronological order when I was thinking about it, but you can basically pick out the plots of like many 80s sports franchises or sports movies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's and this is why I don't
It's
typically
Rudy.
like.
It's The Naked Gun. It's
See, this is why I don't
Rocky
like sports
2.
movies.
Yeah.
Because it's all the same. It's all the same thing. But this works because, as you said, this is all about character. The sports structure of it all doesn't matter. It's about the characters.
You say sports movies, but you're just saying like that genre doesn't appeal to you because they're all the same.
That
Like,
genre does
many
not appeal
genre
to
are very similar, and I would say that sports movies or rom-coms per se, like how many movies did Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan make that are just the same movie, with the same actors? Just
Fair enough.
And I think some genres, right, scratch an itch for certain folk, right? Like that's why there's so many subgenres on YouTube, because people are like, I like to watch kids who grew up and then bought their dad's first car and gave it back to them.
Right.
There's a whole thing you can watch for hours.
No, for sure.
So that's what sports movies are.
Yeah, but here's, I think you made an excellent point that the reason this episode works for me is because we're seven seasons in and we know these characters, and so every single beat in this is a reference point to the character that we know, which is also why the Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks movies, which repeat themselves, we have a relationship with Meg Ryan, we have a relationship with Tom Hanks outside of the movie, and we have a relationship with the relationship of Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks outside of the movie, which is why they work better, because we're not going in cold.
Whether you like this episode or not, right, and we will get into it, one of the patrons brought up, and this is, we so rarely, and why this episode is special regardless whether you like it or not, we so rarely get to see the entire cast act ensemble. I can't really point to any other examples, period. Like on camera, on screen, together, interacting. Yeah. They're an incredible ensemble. They work really well together, and to work well as an ensemble in a farcical, slapstick comedic episode is crazy.
We've got another good one coming up. Fun.
Cool.
All right, so in this episode, Dr. Bashir asks, when is the Clash of the Titans? Well, in 2010, he would go on to have a small part in the remake of The Clash of the Titans.
Oh, interesting.
That's fun.
I would say that this episode, Keith, is my trivia, is probably the most t-shirtable episode. There's so many great one-liners you could put on a t-shirt from this episode.
Death to the opposition.
Death to the opposition.
Worf
is
the secret MVP of this episode. 100%.
His pants are a little tight. I think somebody called him Double Bat Worf. Yeah, Double Bat Worf or something.
Yeah, how was that a problem? All right, so Joey Banks, one of the Vulcans, is played by the baseball coach who trained the cast during the filming.
Oh, cool.
He is the son of Chicago Cubs shortstop Ernie Banks.
There you go. There's some big hitters,
There's some, like, baseball luminaries tangentially related to this episode. So also tangentially related to the series, but not to this episode because their core pieces are our guest stars: Max Grodenchik as Rom, Aaron Eisenberg as Nog, Gregory Wargrowski as Solak, Chase Masterton as Lita, and Penny Johnson as Cassidy Yates. Now, let me ask you, Mike.
Yeah.
If we had to make a baseball team, and we had to select the very finest players and people in the entire universe,
Keith, I would have to say, if we're going to do that, we got to make it like our fantasy football drafts, and make the bench deep.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's not. We need more than 9 players.
Oh yeah. Well, we gotta have the pitchers and the relievers and the.
What do you
and the
say
coaches?
that we alternate and just start like picking out folks if we're gonna commit to this bit that we think. Let's do a draft, Keith. What do you say?
Let's do a draft.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
How about Brian Kimball Rearsick?
I'm picking next up Frank Rich,
Barks Barr.
Yanba,
Ryan Chesley.
Andre,
Oh, still on the board, Jamie Lubin.
Jason Moe. How have you not been picked yet?
Oh, on catcher we got Deborah.
Joshua Cronin.
DC for
Matt-
sure.
Yeah. Well, Mike, obviously.
Yeah, you know what? As an alternate, I'm going to need Andrew Hayes.
Oh, okay. Great. With our closer, Alan.
Yeah, of course, Anne the Mysterious. She's still... We don't know what she's going to play.
First base coach, Worf's big old boat shifts.
Yeah, Charles Babbage, ball boy.
John Kelly, selling them hot dogs.
Keith Blank, hawking beers.
Casey Alexander, shows you where to park.
Harry Pothead, taking tickets.
Anton Thies, somebody's got to sweep up the nachos after the game.
Carl Fisher, cotton candy vendor.
Alan Gurdon, he's going to mow that grass.
And Deborah Scott, she played bada.
Tren does all of the announcing.
But this is going to be way too long. Okay, now we're just saying names. Odo's Bucket, Lost Emu, Scotty B, Merritt Neath, 86 and Company, Byron Woosley, Aroha,
I was ready to go the whole time.
AI Sausage, Yum Yum, Ben B.
AI Sausage also sells hot dogs.
AI Sausage, I got worried last night. The battery percentage was down to 10%. Brian from Video Game Drive-By, Nikolay Ivanovich Lobachevsky, YouTube viewer, James Hubbard, Hibernation Pod, Mary Holcomb, Rogue Knight, JD Makes, Colin, Chris, Frank, Pat, Joshua, and Kevin, the Chancellor, Jen, Fedora the Explorer, Aroha again, Engineer Maynard, Jerome Gibson, Chanel, Lauren Morrison, Mr. Smokin' Dragon, Bolian for Soup, Lutz Kremer, Wyatt Eldridge, Kevin Miles, Ryan Caputo. Folks, let's get on to the Hall of Fame. Casey, Brian, Jason, Joshua, Ann, Andrew, Worf, Colin, Quark, Peter, CRM, Jennifer, Cloud Lover, Jorge, Charles, Kevin, Frank, Brian, JT, CRM, Ryan, Yanva, and of course Anton Thies, Merritt Neath, and Harry Pothead.
I think I think you've had a little bit of a hitch in your swing trying to say the word Bryant. So if you swing Bryant, it's not going to get a lot of power.
I'm sorry, everyone. Thank you so much for helping us produce the show.
Let's go into our screening room, shall we?
How's this for a surprise, He-Man?
Play ball!
Okay.
Oh, Keith.
Oh God.
Keith,
Uh,
come back.
oh man, you can really tell this.
Do the push, Keith. Do the
This
push.
baseball jersey has really been suffering.
You gotta push the screen.
No.
No, with your hand. Do you remember
yes.
the effect?
Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. All right. Okay. Oh, thank God. It's hard to move in this thing.
Yeah, I know.
This jersey was designed for like 2007, Keith.
Mm-hmm.
So he's should have seen the look Jillian just gave.
She's like, you better not be tilting that camera my direction.
No. That's right. It's sort of I played for Av. New. It's because it's so far apart. That's what I'm saying. All right. Anyway,
We'll workshop that one.
no, we're not. We're gonna leave it. Puerto Rico.
That's our new shirt.
Puerto Rico can't save us from ourselves
Yeah.
bad jokes.
Oh,
All right,
Norcom has
so-
saved Ben from this opening screenshot.
Oh,
Sorry,
sorry, Avery. So in our teaser, Cisco was chilling with when his nemesis Captain Solak arrives. He is a Starfleet Vulcan, and guess what, Mike? He's a dick.
Mm-hmm.
They measure their pikes. Solak has 2, and Cisco only has 1. So Solak's ship is here for repairs and is going to take at least a week. This dude is super arrogant and straight rude about his racism towards humans.
I love, though, that Vulcans don't really just...
No one can help you. You're on your own. No one can help me. Sorry, my...
That's okay. I just love that because they're not very demonstrative emotionally, that they have to really be oozing smug in order for it to read.
Yeah, and it's like he is shockingly rude and obnoxious. And
although, as our patron said, they really needed a drag queen on staff to make sure that they hid the eyebrows properly, because his human eyebrows are very visible.
Oh, that's true. Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, honestly, like everybody needs a drag queen around to like fix their face.
Yeah.
Like somebody probably could have helped me at cutting out the back of this shirt.
That face. All right.
All right. So, but he asks for the use of the Holosuite because he and his senior staff have been playing a new game, baseball. Cisco immediately summons the senior staff, and he is going to teach them baseball because they are going to beat those snooty Vulcans. And Worf says, "We will destroy them." And we are kicked off on our teaser here. Now, did you know then we were going to do a whole baseball episode now?
Yeah.
Were you excited about it? So you are the resident baseball
I stopped
fan.
the stream to go get my baseball cap.
Of course.
Yeah. Yes. I had some questions. I was like, why did the Vulcans pick baseball? But then it comes clear that the bully just picked whatever would piss Ben off, so.
That's right. So in Act 1, our heroes do a crash course in the rules of baseball. They're all completely lost. But they're working hard. Baseball has a million weird rules and names for stuff. Good effects there, getting that pad to doing the overlay there.
I like that it was basically just like in the script that it just read baseball word, baseball word, baseball word.
But we learned the rules of Chekhov's bunt.
I will say, they stumped me on one. There's like a dandy boy or like a dandy Randy or something. Fancy Dan. Never heard that before in my life.
I had never heard that either.
Is that a real thing?
I don't know. You have to look it up. So Nog and Lita.
Fancy Dan baseball dictionary being a word.
Neither one of us can say words today.
Definition of a fancy Dan. Did they say this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A player who works to make every play seem spectacular. A player who poses and puts on airs. A player who would rather make a one-handed catch than use two hands. Basically, we get the fancy Dan when Esri does her backflip.
That's right.
Okay.
See, but here's the thing. Every one of those baseball terms
gets utilized.
We use in the episode.
Yep.
So they're Chekhov's bunt and fancy Dan. So Nog and Lita ask if they can try out for the team. And Rom says, Nog always talks about Captain Sisko, about how Captain Sisko and Jake play baseball, and how it brings them closer together. Since Nog and I haven't seen much of each other lately, I thought this might be a good way of spending some time together. Adorable. What a good dad. He is such a good dad. So, Quark comes in to taunt his brother, of course, and gets himself teased into joining the team as well. Because, we got to get everybody there.
Can you imagine having to do baseball with Ferengi makeup on?
Unbelievable. It's crazy. It's like...
I can't even wear a football helmet. It distracts me that much. I can't imagine all that BS.
It must be so hot. So, we arrive in the baseball field. Send your questions about the mechanics of the Holosuite to Mr. Holosuite. As they are... It's only like 20 feet across. But then they're taking up that amount of space. Like, we had the same question right over with Next Gen, but in the Holosuites in Deep Space Nine are like particularly small. Whatever, science, magic. Cisco is excited. Jake is the pitcher and looks like he could legit play. No surprise.
Costume department, all kinds of fun stuff happening.
So fun. Everybody, like, there's so many interesting choices here because, like, Jake and Ben have, like, baseball stuff right away. Some of them are like, so Bashir is still in his uniform. And it's,
Like Quark has like he's wearing like culottes and like.
Yeah, you gotta let it breathe. They're all wearing, like, Quark looks like he's wearing boots. Quark and Rom look like they're wearing boots.
Rom's got like cargos, and Lita's just in a dress.
Lita and Kira are wearing sneakers.
Ezri, I would say, like, came to practice a sport today.
Right, but I think that's her uniform with just the jacket off. Anyway. Although, wait, no, Bashir's wearing his division color, but I don't think I think it's gray underneath the jackets. I don't know, whatever. Costume choices. So Cisco reminds them that each of them has seen at least one baseball game with him in the Holosuite, which is sweet, because it means even like Rom and Nog and Lita have all watched a baseball game with Cisco. What a great like way to bond with the boss. And the boss to like force people to pay attention to the things he likes. So if I had employees and I made them watch Deep Space Nine with me. So Cisco gives an inspirational speech pointing out that they don't have the physical assets of the Vulcan, which we are reminded they have the strength of 3 humans and speed and all that kind of stuff. But this is about courage and faith of the heart. See what I did there, Enterprise fans?
So this scene is important because, first of all, so I know there's a ton of movie tropes and different types of sports movies that I mentioned during the watch along, and they all stand true. But I thought about like, what are the top two that I feel like married to make this episode? And for me, it's Charlie Brown, because when Charlie Brown, the Peanuts gang plays baseball, Charlie Brown's always the pitcher.
Never saw that. Yeah.
He is always giving an inspirational speech. I'll try to just YouTube some Charlie Brown baseball speeches. It's everything Ben says. It's really funny, and Ben delivers it the way Charlie Brown does, so I just couldn't help but think of it.
Oh, that's funny.
And also Bad News Bears, basically.
Sure.
That 70s movie, right? That just who was it? Was it Bert? Who was the coach in that?
Oh, Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau, and
Yeah.
it's basically this episode, right? And this scene serves to be like, to us, direct to camera. It's Ben basically saying it's like, this is a silly farce episode. So we're staying in the Holosuite. Go about your business.
We're gonna have some fun. Everybody relax and have some fun.
What's crazy is, so when we do, if we like maybe tongue in cheek, we'll give some critical analysis, but I get everybody needs to blow off some steam. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. We got the war. We got mourning to do. Like, there's a lot happening. I understand everybody getting together for like a nice retreat. Perfect. 2 weeks? That's a lot of time.
They're spending a great deal of time on this.
What's 2 weeks? What's happening on the station?
Yeah, but whatever. You got people.
Well, there is one. He does say later that practice is at 07:30. So it sounds to me like they're practicing like maybe 3 hours in the morning and then working the rest of the day.
Oh yeah, just casually like, oh, we lost the war. Whatever.
All right, well.
Yeah. So, anyway, everybody is all fired up by the speech, and they start by playing catch. Inevitably, most of them are terrible. Nog is pretty decent, but Rom is hopeless.
There's a lot of sports you can learn the fundamentals in a week or two and like be okay. Baseball's not one of them.
Baseball's not that. No. Like you could everybody could play soccer in like a half an hour.
It's like baseball's like hockey in that like if you can't catch the ball, that's not something you just learn. Like if you can't ice skate, you're not playing hockey.
Right. No, that's definitely true. It doesn't matter.
No.
Cisco's determined to win anyway.
Yes.
So in Act 2, Cisco goes to Odo to ask him to umpire. Great piece here. Notice says, wouldn't a holographic umpire be more accurate? But of course, it's baseball. Cisco says, I don't want some computer program calling a baseball game. That's what we do in 2025. That's the kind of thing Solak would do. I want a person behind the plate. So Odo is in and he's told to work on his moves. So fun.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting at this moment that they were setting up my favorite part of the whole episode.
Oh, yeah.
Odo as umpire is it. Keith, did you ever see The Naked Gun?
Sure.
I believe it's part 2. When
The baseball one.
Enrico Palazzo, when Leslie Nielsen has to play the opera singer singing the national anthem, but then somehow gets deceived into also being the umpire. And then there's that whole montage of him just calling balls and strikes and like, steer, and then doing the moonwalk and the split. And then someone from the stands goes, hey, it's Enrico Palazzo. So I tell this only because that's what it makes me think of, but also because, all of Keith's impressions make me laugh. There's only one person whose impressions, because there's so few and far between, that make me laugh harder, and that's CEO Jen, the Chancellor. She does Leslie Nielsen being the umpire in Naked Gun is her big impression, and it makes me howl. I am on a mission to get her to do it for camera to somehow put on the Patreon page. But oh boy. So every time he did that, I was like, I cannot wait for Jen to watch this episode. I cannot wait. Wow.
That's honey and gooseberries if I've never heard of it. So we arrive in the infirmary where everyone is injured.
Not a little bit injured.
Big time injured.
I believe Quark broke his skull.
He literally has a broken skull. From an errant bat from Rom.
Uh-huh.
Or was it errant? Who knows, brothers and bats.
Uh-huh.
And O'Brien is out. He's got a torn rotator cuff. And
can't fix that? You can fix a guy's skull, but you can't rotator cuff beam?
You've got to get the ligaments to knit. But also, it's set up well because O'Brien blows at his shoulder once a season, dating back to Next Gen. So Sisko makes O'Brien the coach. And Bashir says, if you'll excuse me, I have to fix realigning Worf's zygomatic bone. And Rom, tell him I'm sorry. Hilarious. Hilarious to think Rom out there with a bat just murdering people. Love it. So Sisko needs a new player, so enter Cassidy, who makes perfect sense as she is also a baseball fan. They bonded on that sport.
I was saying, and I'll reiterate, what I dig about Cassidy's appearances in this episode specifically is that obviously they can't use her every episode, and so we see her few and far between, but they're doing a great job when we do see her of knitting the fact that this is an ongoing relationship. We see the growth here. And it doesn't feel out of nowhere. That's great work.
Yeah, no, well, spoiler alert, I love this episode. But the work that is done by knitting in the character work in this, so everything feels earned, both in the work we've done before. It's great. That's a good action shot there for Penny Johnson-Gerald. That's great. So back at practice, Cassidy does indeed know what she's doing. Rom, not so much. It takes him 3 throws to get the ball out of the outfield. Funny bit. He throws it, runs after. I thought that was really funny. So they switch to batting practice, and they see Solar scouting him. Rom heads up to the plate and is useless. Sisko is getting impatient, especially impatient with Solar watching. It's very weird seeing Rom without his head thing. Mike, you notice why Rom looks so weird because he doesn't have and the same thing with Nog. Now, do you remember why Rom and Nog wear the head goober?
No.
It's because filling in the seam of the headpiece down the neck is a long and complicated piece of makeup work.
Keith, that's how in this I am. I thought you meant in lore why they wore that.
Oh.
I could have told you a makeup head carapace is difficult, but...
So why in lore is it?
Because they fancy Dans, baby.
It's flair. They have to have head flair. I like it.
So we can see the crease is what you're saying now. Or did they just fill it in with makeup?
No, they fill it in with extra skin all the way down on the neck.
It is weird.
Yeah, it's odd. So after Rom throws his bat over Jake's head, Ben loses it and angrily fires Rom. It is not a good look, but we've all seen the angry sports dad acting like an utter jackass. very familiar with my.
Yeah, I don't. It is a little weird that they would portray grown men getting bent out of shape over sports and taking it too seriously.
We've never done that.
No,
before.
I never throw my hat angrily.
No,
never.
Keith's
never broken an Xbox controller.
No, because it's just a game.
Yeah,
it's just a game. It's not that important. What are you
No
talking
TVs
about?
have ever been destroyed.
No, definitely not. So in Act 3, luckily, all of Rom's teammates have his back. And they all offer to quit unless Rom is reinstated.
Last scene of Rudy.
It's the right call. But Rom says he hasn't earned it, and he wants to see everyone play even if he's only watching from the stands, which makes his wife swoon. Later, O'Brien explains the concept of gum to Bashir, and naturally he's made his Scotch-flavored. It's interesting Star Trek is sort of famous for awkwardly treating our normal stuff as if it's ancient history and people are not aware that it even existed. But it's also interesting to like the choices they make, like what disappears into antiquity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when did we decide that gum was no longer necessary?
There's a video I just watched, a YouTube channel I really enjoy. It's called Smarter Every Day. No, maybe it's not. Oh, I forget which YouTube channel it was.
Apparently it wasn't, if you don't remember.
I can't remember the YouTube channel. Anyway, they were discussing the ancient Roman or Mesopotamian dodecahedron, the little things. They found all over. Let me see if I can find a picture. All right, hold on. Here it is.
I'm holding. I'm bated breath.
All right, let's see how fast Mike can produce it. Bing!
Oh.
They found these all over where the ancient Roman Empire was, in the hundreds of thousands, right? But no idea. There's nothing in literature that explains what they are, what they were used for, what their purpose is, because it was so ubiquitous, like a toothbrush. It just doesn't show up in any sort of like explaining. So people have theories and stuff, but this is something that's been lost to antiquity not that long ago.
That's interesting. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was like a toy?
Or they seem to have come down. There is a ton of opinions and thoughts, but it seems to come down to like mostly wealthier people had them, so they were like a status symbol. So they don't think it had like a practical purpose as much as it was like having a Tony or something like that. Like what
a
if
Rubik's Cube?
Basically, like if in the future they found a bunch of Grammys around, right? And people be like, I guess you could hold your gum in there or something. Anyway, so it's not unheard of.
Yeah, no, for sure. So O'Brien made his gum Scotch flavored, which actually sounds terrible. Everybody keeps studying, and I have to say the score of this episode is so great.
It's Danny Elfman. It's scored by Danny Elfman. It
makes the jaunty score makes the training montage delightful.
It also knows what episode it is, and it also is disarming you and telling you exactly what kind of episode we're in.
Right. It's super. Probably nobody's going to die, although there are more injuries in this than the war episodes.
Keith, can I just say the episode is called Laugh Smarter. That's the YouTube channel, Laugh Smarter.
Okay, there it is. Our heroes are being worked to the bone, but what is the logo? Oh, that's
their names.
So it's their names. Why did they need name tags?
I don't know. Maybe initially they weren't going to give them jerseys on the back with their names on the back.
Interesting.
They stitched them up front.
I hadn't noticed. I'm so glad you went on that whole treatise because I didn't know. I never noticed that they were named.
That looks like how the costume department, like when you're in a show, they just like they pin it to the back of your shirt, so you know. But it kind of looks like they did that on the front.
Yes, exactly. So Kira walks by and clocks Odo practicing his umpire moves. She is delighted. That shot is delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Super cute. So later, Cassidy is helping Cisco swing, and he is stressed and angry.
Oh, here we got the shot.
Yeah, awesome. So Cassidy says something which I think is such an interesting but wise line. He says, I know that look. The really like to smash something, but she'd think I'm crazy look. Well, don't let me stop you. They're your quarters. Smash away if it'll make you feel better. Well, there's an interesting character beat there. She forces him to spill why this game is so important to him. And he explains when he was a cadet with Solar, when he was a cadet, they were in cadet at the same time, Cisco says, we got into a debate. Solak, not Solar, whatever, said that Vulcans were naturally superior to humans and other emotionally handicapped species. I took the opposite point of view, so there I was, drunk and debating logic versus emotion with a smug and very sober Vulcan. Well, to make a long story short, I decided the best way to prove that humans were every bit the equal of Vulcans was to challenge Solak to a wrestling match. Naturally, as Vulcans have 3 times the strength of humans, he got his ass kicked. I ended up in the infirmary with a separated shoulder, 2 cracked ribs, and a bruised ego. Solak then wrote 5 psychology papers on our match. I became the living embodiment of why Vulcans were inherently superior to humans. And Solak has been lording this over him for all of these years, and this baseball game is just another way to rub Cisco's nose in it. Which is such a... Like, Solak holding this, like, this is like the most important thing that's ever happened in Solak's life. And being an asshole to Cisco. Like, it is... Alright, other Star Trek fans. Is this one of the early versions of the heel Vulcans? Of, like, the super arrogant, condescending Vulcans? Because we're going to see this again, especially on Enterprise. Now, I understand that McCoy called Spock this all the time, but it wasn't really played that way. Like, McCoy was always a little bit over his skis, pointing out how smug and obnoxious they were. And I feel like this is sort of one of the first times where they actually are exactly as smug and arrogant and obnoxious.
I'd also never known that they are 3 times as strong as humans.
Well, yeah, because I guess you wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah, like Spock never really displayed that in any sort of way.
They talk about it.
I mean, I guess they're like...
But because we on Next Gen didn't have a Vulcan main character, and on Deep Space Nine we haven't really spent a huge amount of time.
Someone brought up a wormhole that they never explicitly explained why they're stronger. Like, we need the scientific explanation, but I just assume, right, that the gravity's a little bit stronger there, so they just.
Well, species are different.
Yeah, and I guess if you look from the human, that's assuming we're the baseline, right? In that metric. That's not necessarily that we evolved to be weaker. It's not necessarily that they're stronger. Yeah.
Like, no 2 species are going to evolve the same just out of happenstance. The fact that we have similarities is the unrealistic part, not that we have differences. So,
like,
Cassidy,
I was bugged by the extras. Like, I was like, why would there be only human extras in the Holo program? And then I realized, it's a human game.
Human game.
Yeah.
So Cassidy naturally tells Cisco to tell the team about this, so they can know why he's acting like an idiot. But he asks her to promise not to tell.
Best comedic cut. That's an editing choice.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
She's like, I promise you won't tell. Okay, I promise. She immediately tells everybody.
Yeah, like,
really funny.
You can't tell right now because YouTube and media right now, the hard cut is it's how we do things now. The hard cut is very much the transition du jour. It used to be the hard cut was used as a tool.
Right.
This being one of them, because there's a lot of like transition and crossfade and whatnot in Star Trek in Deep Space Nine.
Establishing shots and all that kind of stuff.
Crossfade to eye line and or moving crossfade. Anyway, this direct cut to her just spilling beans instantly is so true to relationships. It's wonderful.
So funny. Mm-hmm. So funny. So once they know what's going on, they're super fired up. And they're going to win it for the captain and all of the emotionally handicapped races. So in Act 4, we're here at the game. There's a crowd and they stand listening to the Federation anthem, which I disagree with the people who didn't like it. I think it is a very creditable anthem.
This is cute. Go team!
Yeah, super cute. Odo is the umpire, and they've got sweet Niners uniforms and hats. Yeah, do I want one of those hats?
Yeah, me too.
You're damn right.
But I want
do.
a new era one. Like, I want one that looks good. I don't want like a crappy one.
Well, I want one that'll fit my head because I can't wear.
What I
normal
really
hats.
want is Odo umpire figure.
Yeah, I
Or like the
Joshua
whole team.
Cronin,
Really,
I'm
with like the whole
assuming
team.
you have these figures done.
Yes, playing baseball in a baseball diorama. I assume.
Yeah, you've got to have these.
Probably in your kitchen. As it sprawls.
So anyway, yeah, I definitely want one of those hats, but I have to get one. See, I
Actually, I was going to ask you earlier,
like a
Keith.
Ferengi version because my head's too big.
I was going to ask you earlier. I know you're. I also have a giant head, and I know that you're self-conscious about your giant head.
I'm proud of it.
Oh, good. Do you ever wear fitted caps, or are you only a snapback guy?
I don't wear enough hats, sort of in general.
I was going to ask you what size you wear. Is what I'm getting at.
The biggest you can find.
So you don't wear fit caps then?
I mean, I would probably have to get one that's absurdly large.
I'm a 7.5, whatever that.
I would be whatever's bigger than that because I went to go. I only have one hat that I can wear reliably, and that's a Bruins hat that I got at the arena. But I had to go to like 4 different stands of the.
Is it a snapback?
How
How many clickers do you?
No, it's fitted.
Oh, okay.
I'll get the thing for you. But I went to that and they were like literally, I'm sorry, we don't have anything.
Yeah, mine is also very large.
No. Blah blah blah. It does not correlate, kids. So
Their hats are so cool. I don't love the
yeah.
Vulcan logo as much.
Well, that's the Vulcan sort of symbol dealy.
I'm just saying, as baseball flair, I like the Niners cap better.
Yeah, well, we gotta get some Niners caps. So we'll have to. I'm sure they're available somewhere. So the Vulcans are up first, but first Cisco asks Solak if they can turn off the crowd. His team has never played in front of a crowd before. Plus,
They can't pay for the extras all day.
there you go. It would be very expensive to pay the extras for all those hours filming. You get it. So they all do baseball chatter, batter, 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 and Worf says,
That's a
"Death
real
to
thing.
the opposition."
That baseball chatter is a real thing. Which I think is funny. I've always been into it too, though. What do you say now? Come on now. Let's get some chatter
So
going.
silly.
Let's talk in the outfit.
So Worf's death to the opposition, funniest moment in the episode. Maybe laugh so hard. Not in the script. So either
That's an Addy?
Doran added or they did it on the day. So good. So the first ball thrown is a home run for the Vulcans. Uh-oh. And after the top of the first, they've already given up 4 runs, and Cisco starts yelling at everybody.
Come on, the Logicians. That's good.
That's good. I like
Yeah.
it. So Bashir, Kira, and Worf are up and
Actually-
strike out immediately.
Keith, how
Yes.
giant do you think Quark's hat has to be? That's the one. We got to get you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I need a Ferengi hat.
Yeah.
They just cut the back out altogether. Because, like, you know how like the hat's supposed to land on your ears? Even my, like, stupid one still sits above my ears. It's not good. It's not good. I cannot be served at a regular store. So, anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so top of the first, Bashir, Kira, and Worf strike out immediately. You would think that Bashir would be better at this. Like, Worf is super strong, doesn't mean he's necessarily coordinated. Bashir should 100% be.
But just like talk about knowing the play you're in. The direction of this scene, right? Oh, one of your guys just struck out. Now, obviously, we should have been expecting to get our asses handed to us. We should expect them to hit home runs every time because they're super strong. But because we're playing this Bad News Bears thing, all right, show me your general reaction shot. Ah, darn, right? But no, that's not the play we're in. We're doing hyperbole. So look at this background acting here. I mean, they are just like doubled over. Sirik's passed out. I mean, it's
Really funny.
It's just over the top. Everything's over the top. Everyone has to eat the scenery.
It's delightful.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Or it doesn't work. You have to commit the whole way through where it does not work.
Right. No, 100%. So later in the game, a Vulcan runs Kira on second base. She's pissed, but Cisco tells her not to do anything that would get her thrown out of the game. Spoiler alert. Kira does, however, get some revenge later with a double. Worf is up, Kira's on second, and Odo makes a borderline strike 3 call, calling Worf out. I checked. It was a ball.
It's a ball. Yeah.
It's a ball. Worf is mad, but Sisko is furious. And Sisko touches Odo.
Which that goes back to, right, that we should have done computers.
Should have done computers.
Yeah.
Well, Odo being the element of chaos here. So Odo throws him out of the game because Odo knows the rules.
Yeah, hold on.
Taking no guff from anyone.
We didn't make the comment of this earlier, but Renee gives some of the most perfectly practiced and comedic strike and ball calls and out calls.
He does a good job.
It's so good. It's so good.
He does a really good job with it.
Because not only are they funny, but they're also very much
accurate.
Umpires are this way. They're very demonstrative because they're narcissists.
On TV.
Yeah.
Gotta look good.
And also, he's playing it as if he had done his job and went and rehearsed the moves, because we saw him doing that, and learned all the rules back front forward.
Renee clearly did.
Yeah.
He's got the choreo down.
It's very much very Odo. It's awesome.
I love Renee's work in this. So Sisko has to head to the stands, leaving O'Brien in charge, and also putting Quark into the game. Sisko sits down near, but not too near, Rom. It's cringe. The Vulcans are up, and Ezri makes a very fancy catch on the fence line. Oh, nicely done. Using her acrobatic skills, it's a great stunt, but I bet that ball was CG.
Yeah, but also, I mean, just because, not for nothing, we get the fancy Dan, but also, earlier in the episode, little nugget, she's saying, I'm just now getting facility of my body and how it moves and all these things. Oh, and now we know, okay, her conversion or whatever.
She's figuring it out.
Yeah.
Or at least in that moment, it clicked. So fun. So fun. The Vulcans get another hit and a runner goes in to score, but misses home plate. Not very Vulcan of you, is it? And Nog, what do I do? Worf, find him and kill him. Worf, I love you so much. I love you so much in this. I need a t-shirt of Worf in his baseball uniform with find him and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
That's so great.
The tag them all is like such a farcical.
Right?
It's very I Love Lucy or the Munsters or something.
Right, yeah. He goes and tags them all out. He goes to the bench. Runner makes a run for home. And he throws him out on the plate. Everybody celebrates. Sisko now is getting it.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this game. Every situation is different. You never know what's going to happen. And then Rom, yikes. Sorry, there's missiles and stuff happening in real life.
I had to turn real life off, Keith, for this. I don't know how you're multitasking it.
That's how I roll.
Okay.
Sisko tells O'Brien... Sisko knows he has some amends to make, because Rom looks like a lot of fun. So in the final inning, they're down 14-0, and Nog gets himself to third. And Sisko tells O'Brien to put Rom in the game after all. Rom gets up to the plate, and Sisko turns the crowd on to cheer Rom, and even gets him announced up on the plate, which Rom enjoyed. Like, this is something he finds delightful. Oh my god, that's
adorable, this screenshot.
Rom is like so happy to get this attention. Strike one. Strike two. Then O'Brien realizes what to do. Call a bunt. Chekhov's bunt. And of course, hilariously, they all try to signal Rom to do the bunt. He has no idea what he's doing, and as he stands confused, the ball hits the bat. And it's an unintentional bunt, allowing Nog to score. Everyone goes bananas, and they celebrate like they won the World Series and carry Rom off the field. So delightful.
Or attempt to carry him off the field. They couldn't get him up as high as they thought.
Well, they got him up for a second, but they had Kira and Yeah, it didn't have Worf carrying it. That was the problem. Solak is pissed and goes to complain to Odo and says this is completely improper. The game is not over. And he touches Odo, which gives him an excuse to throw Solak out of the game. Come on! Later in Quarks, everyone is thrilled, and Sisko sincerely apologizes to Rom, as he should. Solak is still angry, and he says, I fail to see why you were celebrating. The Ferengi's bunt was an accident, and you still lost the game. Sisko's, you're absolutely right. And you know what? I couldn't be happier. You were attempting to manufacture a triumph where none exists. I'd say he succeeded. And then they all cheer to manufactured triumphs. That's what this show is. And they all gang up on Solak and point out how emotional he's being in his petulance. Then, lastly, they toss Sisko a ball signed by everybody. Where is that ball, and how can I get it on my bookshelf? Mm-hmm. Probably not the only person who wants that, and that is Take Me Out to the Holosuite. Let's discuss.
AlamarEmmys, there was more. AlamarEmmys, it's AlamarEmmys time.
There it is.
Fix yourself, Keith.
All right, I'll get myself fixed. Let's talk about our best moment.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many good moments. I guess. Oh, there's so many. This is surprisingly difficult for me, just because of my inside joke with CEO Jen. It's hard not to pick umpire Odo every time he does everything he does, from his strike calls to his "you're out of here" calls to him tacitly helping out us with the play. Umpire Odo is going to be my pick, although there's so many other good ones.
There's so much to like here. There's so much that's really, really fun. Yeah, for me, find him and kill him.
Yeah. Yes.
Find him and kill him. Like, come on, it's just so funny. Like, all these character beats. It's really fun. You know, like Nog's whole journey, or Rom's. I know I'm racist against Ferengi. I can't remember their names. Rom's whole journey here is so fun. It's so delightful. But yeah, I mean, that Worf's line there literally makes me laugh out loud, and I rarely laugh out loud watching television by myself. And so
I LOL a lot of times in this episode, many times.
So that's what gets it for me. How many baseball?
You get some stamps. Hell yeah, they are self-sealing. Here are some stamps for you.
All right, Keith, I'm going to begin by wrapping up the one major glaring criticism, which is, how could we be playing baseball for 2 weeks in the middle of the war, yada, yada, yada. To which I point out that there is historical precedent for this. The Christmas...
1918, I believe.
Oh my God. Armistice. The Christmas armistice. And I will read it directly from Wikipedia itself. It was a widespread unofficial ceasefire along the Western Front of World War I, Christmas 1914. And 5 months after the hostiles had begun, lulls occurred in the fighting, and armies ran out of men and munitions, and so they basically took this break, and some places just like hung out and smoked cigarettes and played soccer, and all people that were going to kill each other, that were killing each other yesterday, going to kill each other tomorrow. We figured we'd play soccer today and hang out and celebrate and drink. Because war's stupid and conflict is manufactured. But regardless, you need to blow off some steam sometimes. And I think that it's fair that they want to do that here in space. All right?
Yeah.
Let's consider that closed.
Agreed.
So, we're going to do an ensemble farce comedy. Sitcom comedy. This will only work because we love all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
not only do we love all the characters, but if you think about the growth of the show, there's a lot of conflict throughout the first few seasons. Different characters at odds with each other. This is one of those first times you see them all together, cooperating, collaboratively, rooting for each other, picking each other up, having each other's back. The reason why you love it when Charlie Brown does it, the reason why you love it when the Bad News Bears do it, and we love those sports movies, it ain't because you're surprised by every twist and turn around the corner. You know exactly every beat, every plot point.
Yep.
So how do we execute that? Well, it's got to be done right. It's got to be, the comedy has to, the setups have to pay off. The characters have to mean it. And everybody is committed here. I just couldn't believe how much fun it is. It's just so much fun. An absolute delight. An absolute delight. Led by Avery Brooks, who, I mean, think of just kind of how stupid the arc is, right? He's got an old school grudge. He's this grown man in charge of an intergalactic war.
Right.
And he's like, I gotta beat this guy in Madden. And I'm gonna bring everybody I know to do it.
Yep.
And the fact that any of it works, here's the thing. The fact that this works on any level is a miracle because it's so stupid.
Right.
The fact that, in my opinion, it works on every level is almost like, oh man, I can't believe I'm gonna get burned because not everybody feels this way. This is like a top 10 for me, I think.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it because at the end of the day, listen, you guys know I love the pew-pews and I love the war and the dark and the drama. I love that about Deep Space Nine. I love it. But also, unbeknownst to me, I have fallen in love with this ensemble. Fallen in love with them. And with the exception of the beat in the first act where Quark is a total D-bag to his brother, which I can forgive because that's brothers, right?
Right.
They're all just loving each other. Not only that, the model and what we've learned about Lita and Rom's relationship and how loving and supportive they are, I adore. That scene in the bar where they all are like, we'll quit for you. I mean, it's so trite, but they mean it, and so it works. The scene where Ben Sisko learns a lesson at the end, like it's Miracle on 34th Street. Or, no, it's Full House where the violins come in.
Full House, yes.
It works.
Yeah.
The I Love Lucy comedy stuff works because it knows what show it is. You know that it knows because they're playing the beats over the top as they should. The score is indicating that it's over the top. It's in the Holosuite, so it doesn't make you think about it too much. Yes, if we put this under the microscope, it's baffling in many ways. Like if you connect it to last week or to next, but that's not what we're doing. They tell you right up front, yo, we're going in the Holosuite, we're taking a week off. I love it. I love the Odo bits. I love, there's no notes. No notes. I love that Rom's the hero. But he is only the hero because his friends help him along the way. It's by accident, and as it should be, right? Like he doesn't hit the home run. He does. I think that's the big swerve where you would think in your brain he hits home run to win the game. No, they're gonna lose.
Right.
They lose anyway. They're gonna lose.
Lose anyway. Yep.
All of it works for me. For the comedic episodes that we do, right? Out of all the comedic episodes we've had, and we've had some fun ones, this would be a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10, stem bolts, no notes. In the grand scheme of episodes of Deep Space Nine and stuff, I don't know that I can give it a perfect 10. It is one of my favorite episodes. Thus, I'm giving it 98 self-sealing stem bolts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I know. That's like, is that divisive? I don't know.
Not to me. Not to me.
I'm surprised. I didn't know that because I know you're not a baseball guy.
I'm not a baseball guy. I'm not a sports movie guy.
So I thought I was going to come into this episode and be glowing, and you were going to be rolling your eyes. But I'm so glad that's not the case.
No. Like everything you just said, I completely agree with. It's a delight. It is an unparalleled delight. It is actually funny, not Star Trek funny. It's the character work is so good. It's playing on all of the work we have done. The comedic work and the serious work all informs this whole situation. It's incredibly relatable. We've all dealt with a bully. We've all tried to whatever. But I think, and I will say that I think that you mentioned the score. I think the score is fantastic, and it has really helped that at this point Star Trek was using a full symphony orchestra, and you can hear it. You can hear the real instruments. You can hear it, and it adds a sense of grandiosity to it for sort of low budget. They just sound like a high school field. It doesn't really matter, but the score really fills in some of that majesty for it. But this is a story about family, right? This is all about family. This is like, I hate my brother, but you come at my brother,
Right.
we're gonna fight like a feral animal, and that is what this is. This is a beautiful and complicated, blended, chosen family, and what a great way to spin out this story and just let them play. And it's everybody just being a chance to play. Like, I think behind the scenes too, for all the performers, right? We got out of the sound stages and we got to play in the sun.
That
we got
sense
to go outside.
of fun is absolutely apparent.
Like, it's full on recess.
Mm-hmm.
It is recess. And guess what? Even in the darkest times, even in the middle of the war, you need recess because it's part of the human condition. If we don't have a recess every once in a while, we go crazy. So, which is why it still matters to do it even in the darkest and direst of times. So it's family. It's recess. I think Sisko being an asshole sports dad, both realistic, but also they handled it, right? Mm-hmm. They actually held him accountable for it, for his toxic masculinity there in a bunch of different ways. I think...
Oh, that handshake moment where he shakes Rom's hand at the end.
Yeah.
It was moving. Because
totally.
Rom's been waiting for that.
And it's a sincere apology.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really helps. Solak is a bit of a cardboard villain, but he needs to be. That's the job he has to perform in this.
Well, who wouldn't, if you were, I can see you, one of your rivals, your top two in our class, is Ben Sisko. I could see where.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. If we had more time, we'd give him a wrinkle. But who gives a crap?
Yeah.
Come on, it's about family, and we're rooting for our team. We're Niners over here. Damn it. So 95 self-sealing stem bolts. No apologies for that. I freaking love this episode. I remember when I watched it for the first time this week, and I usually watch it a couple of times. First time I watched it, I just sat down. And I turned it off. God damn, that was delightful. That was so fun.
This is the only time in the history of Deep Space Nine that the moment I shut the stream down, I walked over to the couch, I turned on the big LG, and I watched it again.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Come on.
What a blast.
What a blast. So, in the world,
I'm curious.
more divisive. It gets a 7.4, which makes it episode 97 out of 173. So in the world, it is a below average episode, but I bet you, based on the stats, that it is probably a lot of 10s and a lot of 1s.
Yeah, I mean, you can be both, right? So I think Samir, one of our patrons, was mentioning that not a fan of this episode, just feels like it's just too kind of tonally anachronistic. And I totally get that, but also how much fun it was to watch. So both those things can exist, right? So
Yep. Multiple things can be true at the same time, but our ranking is much higher than the IMDb ranking, but that's okay. Everybody gets to have their own opinion. So next week, we will be discussing the episode Chrysalis. So that will also be interesting, doing another little genre thingy. So looking forward to that very much. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching our little show. Got to get me one of them Niners hats, because that's a really cool inside joke. Yeah. So that's it. We will see you back here.
Keith, I could just
next
cut
week.
this out and just flip it the other way, make it look like a 9.
Make it look like a 9. You could. Yeah.
No one would know what the hell I was doing.
No one ever does. Till then, you have been watching Keith and Mike Watch Deep Space Nine. Thank you for watching K&M Entertainment. If you enjoyed our particular brand of nonsense, please like and subscribe. Or become one of our patrons at patreon.com/KNM.
There is no team like the best. I'm not going to do the Charlie Brown song. We should just cut it there. Let's try it again.
Great.
So dumb.
Oh my god. Well, why don't you just do an impression of Jen doing an impression of it?